Hello, time for another Bog Blog. Been here for a wee while again, so I'm bored. It's time for another Bog Blog. So I'm trying to get a bit more structured at least, so I'm not, excuse me, ranting as much or rambling as much, so I'm a bit more to the point. So I thought this time I would talk about, since I'm on the blog, what the reality of that is for somebody like me, somebody with um, bowel disease, or autoimmune disease. That's what it is. I have as a allegedly. That's what it is. Been diagnosed as autoimmune disease. Um, so Crohn's, or sometimes when they first thought it was Behçet's, but the early symptoms of that kind of disappeared quite quickly. So they said Crohn's and Behçet's are pretty much the same. So they treat it the same, and more people know what Crohn's is, so it's easier just to say Crohn's, isn't it? So, anyways, I mean, yeah, going to the toilet, going to the toilet. It's such a taboo subject, the whole everything about going to the toilet. I think that's probably why I'm actually making this blog. Apart from the fact I get so bored sitting here all the time, just shitting or waiting to shit, or waiting to see if I might shit or whatever. I spend a lot of my life here, a really lot of my life here. Um, and that's fucking reality. That's reality. But it is such a taboo subject. Everybody does it. Every single person on the planet goes to the bloody toilet unless you've got a colostomy bag. Don't even get me started on that. That's a whole other blog. That one there. Um, Colostomy bags. But yeah, toilet. I think a big misconception about people with in my situation is that you've got someone who doesn't have it trying to imagine it, I guess, because you can't imagine it unless you've got it. They think, right, so you've got diarrhea, and okay, maybe you've got quite bad diarrhea, or you've got, constipation or quite bad constipation, right? So they feel that, so they can relate to that. They feel they can relate to that, and they feel, well, come on, it's diarrhea. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets over it, right? But I've never had dysentery, but I can imagine that unless you've had diarrhea from dysentery, then shut the fuck up, right? Because your diarrhea doesn't even fucking touch what goes on. Really, it doesn't. I remember as a child getting diarrhea from whatever stomach bug you had or whatever. And like, it's not pleasant. I'm not fucking denying that. It is not pleasant. Of course, it's not pleasant to have something squirting out your ass and to feel a bit sweaty and clammy and all the rest of it. Right, but at the end of the day, it's all over quite quickly. Someone with a gut disease, I mean, toilet, it takes over your life. It really does. It takes over your life because you've got to think constantly a million steps ahead about where toilets are, whether you're going to be able to use them. So it affects the day to day, like just what you're doing. I'm going to the supermarket, right? Okay, my local supermarket doesn't have a bog. The amount of times I've had to abandon a trolley or whatever and just beat it, run from my car, and do you know what I mean? Sometimes not made it. People like me, you've got to fucking, you go through sometimes months, sometimes you're alright for a wee while, or not alright, but you don't have to be quite as vigilant. But then there's other times where, if you're not carrying a whole fucking change of like drawers and trousers and everything, you're asking for trouble. Um, because that's yeah, it's horrible, it's mortifying, it's embarrassing as shit, but there's nothing you can do about it. That's the way it is. It's fucking, there's nothing worse than being stuck talking to someone in public and all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, I've got to go. Especially if they don't want to let you go. Oh no. And how do you explain? You just go, sorry, my arse is going to explode. That's the stage I've got to now. That's what I do. I don't care who it is. I say, sorry, I'm about to have arse carnage. I'm really going to have to go. And I just leave. But yeah, I mean, like, there's no, brash as I am about it now, it's still embarrassing when I've got someone in my house, and I have to go to the toilet. I turn the TV up and shut the door because I don't want them hearing my fucking arse carnage. I don't want them to hear the explosions and the noises coming from in here. I don't. It's gross. I don't even want to hear it. So I don't want them hearing it, and God knows what they think when they hear it. I don't know. It's fucking, you know. So then you think about that. That's in my own house. You think about out in public if I have to go. I mean, Jesus, it took me years to even be able to use public toilets, I think, because getting past that mortification of that people can hear. I mean, somebody, I mean, I've got part of my bowel missing because they cut it out. Part of my small intestine actually, they cut that out, and they did surgery on two other parts, inserting Gore-Tex to make it wider. So, but I mean, the combined result of it all was that it all made the shitting process much faster. It's like when it goes like at record speed. And where was I? What's my point there? Yeah, having to get away from people. You have to get away from people, and just go and bloody do it. But I've lost my point. What was my point? God damn it. Shit and shit. But anyway. Yeah, so people think that it's just diarrhea or it's just constipation, and they don't take into account what it's like to have that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. They don't take that bit into account. And the fact that it can, I mean, the pain before you go to the toilet can last for so long, the build up to it, where you know it's coming, because like the pain around your whole belly is just the whole gut area. It's not just cramping down at the sort of lower area where you expect. It's not just that. I mean, the whole area just goes nuts, and starts spasming, and you'll be sweating and going white, and like your concentration goes because you're like, it's like being in labour. And I don't say that lightly, because having been in hospital next to a woman in labour making exactly the same noises as me when I was in crisis, it was like being in labour, except I didn't have a baby at the end of it. I didn't even have shit at the end of it. I just had a needle in my arm. But yeah, it's 24/7, so you've got this horrible build up where it's sore, where you're really distracted from, and that's where it severely started affecting my job, obviously, when I was still working. Because your concentration goes, because all you're focused on is keeping the pain at a tolerable level. You can't go to the toilet yet because it's not ready, but it's brewing, and you're feeling every second of that brew, every second. And then you go to the toilet, and this is presuming, of course, that you've had the leisure to actually just go to the toilet when you know you're ready, instead of, oh Jesus Christ, like, I'm gonna have to get there now, yesterday, before it's running down my leg. Not the first time, won't be the last. And you make it to the toilet, and then you're there for God knows how long, sitting waiting for something to happen, or letting it all explode. And and if you're in public, you've got that people coming in and out the public toilets, hearing it, and they just, that way. And when it's a place you work, so you know that people know who it is, it's not just some random stranger, and it's mortifying, right? Anyone who says it's not is a liar. And the fact that no one talks about it proves that it's mortifying, because it is. And the smell, Jesus Christ, like, I could be a biological weapon, seriously, like, I'd be dangerous. The only person I've met that smells worse than me is my cat Jethro, who, Jesus Christ, it's probably not worse, it's probably just just as bad. It's just not, my shit, it says. But so yeah, you've got all that to deal with, on top of the fact that your body's kicking the shit out of you. It's like the psychological side of shitting as well as the actual physical side of shitting. And then of course you've finished your shitting, right? You can't actually get off the bog. People like me who suffer in the same way I do, and I'm not speaking for all Crohn's sufferers or Beshi sufferers by any means, because we're all different. Everybody's different. Every human being is different. But for me, sitting on the body, once it's all finished, you can't even move off the toilet for at least 10 minutes, right? You've still got to sit there and let everything kind of recover, because your muscles are still spasming so hard and everything's so sore. And then when you do get off the bog, you're like waddling along like someone that's just given birth to a fucking elephant. And then you've got to kind of get as flat as you can, really, and recover. And it takes a good 15 minutes at least for that to just recover and stop and be workable with again. Not for the pain to go away, because it doesn't go away ever, but for it to be workable again, and for you to be able to carry on and go on with your day. And it's not just once a day it happens, it's how many times a day. Do you know what I mean? Unless you starve yourself, which is something that I've had to do on many occasions, because otherwise you can't fucking do anything, man. If you've got something that you want to do,